Planet Dolan.
From hilarious misuses of the word salt to using native plants for incest, the Planet Dolan crew reenacts some of the best true stories from our subreddit about times we messed up by fumbling our words. Part 2. I'm Pringle the One, and today I'll be your narrator. Number 10 was submitted by SkyFox231. When Dolan was growing up, his mother was very strict with bad words. No one dared to swear when she was around. One time at the dinner table, he was telling a story and speaking really fast and kept fumbling his words. He really needed salt, but didn't want to stop his story. So instead of saying, "Could you please pass me the salt?" for some reason he blurted out, "Could you please pass me the fuck?" He covered his mouth real fast, hoping his mom didn't hear, but of course she did. She looked at him in disbelief and told him he was grounded for a month. Number 9 was submitted by JJCrystalT. Ramona was hanging out with a friend and they were discussing ideas for food. Since Ramona is pretty lazy, she asked her friend, "You wanna eat out?" Her friend stared back at Ramona with a weird expression. She misheard and thought Ramona was asking to eat her out. She realized the confusion and quickly added, "At a restaurant? Geez, I know I'm bisexual, but I still have standards." Luckily, her friend had a good sense of humor and they both laughed it off, and then they got tacos. Number 8 was submitted by GMD-Pikatron. Spinal Palm got sick once and he had to stay home from school. His dad was taking care of him during the day and gave him medicine to help clear up his cough. When his mom got home that night, she asked Spinal Palm what kind of medicine his dad gave him. Spinal Palm had a high fever and was slightly hallucinating. So instead of saying, "Dad gave me Benadryl," he mumbled, "Dad gave me Viagra." His mom laughed at him and left him to sleep. The next morning, he had no memory of telling his mom that his dad gave him erectile dysfunction tablets. Number 7 was submitted by DerpyGg. When he was a teenager, Nixium was hanging out with a girl he liked. Nixium had a crush on this girl for the longest time, and they were finally alone together. He wanted to see if she would like to go out on a date, but he was super nervous, and instead of saying, "Do you want to go out on a date?" he sort of aggressively said, "Do you want to get out of my face?" She was confused and upset. Even though he tried to apologize and explain himself, she ran from his house and he never got the opportunity to ask her again. Number 6 was submitted by Donovan Art. One time, Emoji's best friend was telling him memories about his favorite cousin who had died a few years ago. He wanted to give his condolences, but isn't very good at that kind of thing. So as he was fumbling his words, trying to find the right thing to say, all he could say was, "Wow, he's dead." He immediately regretted his choice of words, and Emoji started laughing his ass off because it was the last thing he expected him to say. He said it was okay and that his cousin would have laughed at it too. Number 5 was submitted by Potato Productions. One day in the 5th grade, Princess Proton went on a field trip to go see a play. The bus was overcrowded and Proton found herself a seat. Her friends were squashed in, and she wanted to say, "Come sit on my lap," to her friend, but for some reason she ended up yelling,
"Come shit on my laugh."
Her face went bright red and her friend came and sat down next to her. Fortunately for Proton, her friend did not shit on her lap or her laugh. Number 4 was submitted by TheEndersALot. Snoopy was running late for school once, and she opened her classroom door to find that there was a substitute teacher instead of a normal one. Everyone in the class was looking at Snoopy as she tried to catch her breath in front of the class. The substitute teacher asked if she was alright. Snoopy was frazzled and out of breath, and so instead of saying, "Great," or "Okay," she combined both words and ended up declaring to everyone, "I'm gay." She thought she was going to get in trouble for being late, but ended up coming out to her whole class. Number 3 was submitted by RoboticBlood. One time when Zaraganba was eating at a restaurant with his friends after a long day at work, the waiter came up to the table to ask for drink orders. Zaraganba decided to have 1 tea and 1 water. The waiter asked him what he wanted to drink, and he held 2 fingers up and said, "I want 1 tea." But he realized he had too many fingers up, so he put down his index finger and said, "And 1 water." His friends stared at him while he sat there, flipping off the waiter as he made his order. He eventually realized and apologized. Luckily, the waiter laughed instead of being offended. Number 2 was submitted by baddreamr. While Helbint was once giving a presentation in forestry class about the uses of native plants, he intended to say, "Native Americans commonly use this plant for tea and incense." But he had been up all night studying for the presentation and didn't get much sleep. So instead he ended up saying they used the plant for incest and had to stand there awkwardly until the laughter died down and promptly finished up. Somehow he still got an A, even if he did suggest plants were good for inter-family relations. Number 1 was submitted by me, your narrator, Pringle the One. Once I was talking with my mom and sister in Walmart and I was super tired, but I was explaining why which clothes detergents we got mattered, and one thing I said was, because I smell your clothes all of the time. Instead of saying, because I smell our clothes all of the time. Like when I'm folding or just wearing my clothes by, then there was a 40-something-year-old black man that was walking by and overheard and told me,
"That's just wrong."
Huge thanks for the folks over on our Planet Dolan subreddit for submitting their stories. You may have noticed today's video was a sequel because we like the topic so much. Here's a topic we'd love to get more stories for, so we can make another sequel for that too. What's the dumbest thing you said while trying to be romantic? Let us know on the Reddit page linked below, and you might be featured in a future countdown. Take care, everybody. Much love and appreciation. Peace.
Until he could hardly hold it anymore. He blurted out,
I have to go to the bathroom.
She replied, no you don't. You can hold it. You just want to get out of the classroom. Mikhailem waited another 5 minutes before saying,
I really have to go.
And she said,